It's my pleasure to introduce Amazon Redshift, which is our new data warehouse service.
From day one, Redshift made analyzing large amounts of data simple and cost-effective. Since then, Redshift has evolved a lot in response to customer needs.
Critical to our business is a data-backed execution of strategy, enabled through reliable, accessible, and well-governed data through our data governance framework and data platforms.
We had a lot of difficulties working through multiple petabytes of data. We needed a solution that helped us with the data while also providing strong security.
As data volume grew, we started facing challenges with scaling and cost with legacy tools and hardware, as well as tight coupling between storage and compute.
Our internal user base has grown approximately 30% per year in the past 5 years, with over 55,000 internal stakeholders on our data and analytics platforms today. Amazon services form the backbone of this technology architecture, supported by Amazon Redshift.
Our 2,600 analysts use Redshift to work through 10 petabytes of data, including equipment data, quality control data, and a lot more. We don't even need to build custom solutions to monitor and protect it. It makes what we do possible.
Amazon Redshift's evolution over the years solved our challenges with a scalable, cloud-based managed data warehouse. This helped to reduce our operating cost by 30%, improve time to delivery by 50%, while handling 20 times growth in our data volumes.
Redshift has been a game changer for the industry. Today, Redshift is being used by tens of thousands of customers to process exabytes of data daily. The innovation you need to meet your most important business needs.
Hi everyone, I'm Rahul Pathak, the VP of Relational Database Engines in AWS, and I remember that day well when Andy launched Redshift back in 2012 at our first reInvent. And I just, it was my first major release as a product manager, and it was a super exciting time for all of us, and it's really awesome to see how far we've come. And this is a great day of celebration and education. Thank you so much for joining us at the first AWS Data Insights Day. This is focused on Redshift, and we're celebrating 10 years of innovation in data and analytics with our customers. So, before we dive into everything that we've got laid out today, I just want to talk a little bit about how data has transformed really everything we've been doing since history. And I think if you go back to the early days of human civilization, the Sumerian society invented the abacus almost 5,000 years ago. And this helped them manage their agricultural practices and their economy. And, they were pioneers in using data to predict what they needed to for harvest. And then if you move to the 20th century, we had William Deming, who's a scientist and a statistician, and he was hired by the Japanese government in the 50s to help local manufacturing, which was struggling at the time, coming out of the Second World War. And he taught them how to measure their progress and focus on results and continuous improvement, and that really turned into today's total quality management process. And now data, as we all know, is really the engine driving transformation and innovation behind everything that we see around us in pretty much every industry out there. And it allows leading companies to really deliver novel experiences for their customers and engage them more and figure out how to move their businesses forward. And when it comes to innovating with data, as companies think about this, they're really focused on thinking about innovating in a number of areas. One is speed. You want to get faster insights. Second is cost. You want to make sure you're getting value for your investment and that your ability to innovate with data is growing at a faster rate than your costs. You want to get more efficient over time. And then scale. The volume of data we find is going up dramatically. I'm sure you all see that in your businesses. And we want to be able to keep up so you can do the things that you need to be able to do. And at AWS, we've been innovating in data really since the beginning, even before AWS, in fact. Amazon's been innovating in data since the company was founded. And then AWS has been at the forefront of this for over 17 years. We started with S3 for our first scalable object storage in the cloud. It now holds more than 280 trillion objects. S3 is an incredible service and really the foundation for so much of what we see around us. And since then, there have been numerous firsts. We've innovated with DynamoDB, which is a massively scalable database that we developed to help power our checkout process. And Redshift, which I got to launch, our first data warehouse in the cloud, SageMaker, our most popular end-to-end machine learning platform, and we're really here to innovate with you to help you solve your most complex data problems. Now, when it comes to data, we want to really help you deliver an end-to-end analytics strategy from acquiring data to analytics to machine learning. And our strategy is to really offer you a comprehensive set of services that meet your needs today and into the future, no matter where you are in your data journey. We want to meet you where you are and grow together. And we really believe that every customer should have access to a comprehensive set of tools that are purpose-built and targeted at their use cases, that can handle the scale and the variety of data that they need to tackle. And a one-size-fits-all approach does not work in the long run. You always end up compromising. And what we want to do is to give you the right tool for the right job, so you never have to compromise on performance or functionality or scale. And whether you're thinking about storing petabytes of data in a data lake or trying to retrieve data from caches in microseconds, we have you covered. And at the center of this data journey is Redshift. And Redshift is our fully managed petabyte scale data warehouse. It's really connected to all of our data offerings, and our goal with Redshift is to give you the best price performance for large-scale data warehousing in the cloud. And we want you to be able to analyze all of your data, whether it's sitting in operational data stores or streaming systems. And then we want you to be able to also connect that data, use it for machine learning and predictions, so that everyone in your organization can benefit without having to spend a lot of time or effort on managing your data warehouse system. And when we launched Redshift back in 2012, we knew it would be popular. We talked to customers, and we actually launched a preview, and we were really glad we did. Within 3 days, we had so many people sign up that we realized we had 10 times more demand than we were expecting. I remember having to work internally to bring forward all of the hardware orders that we had planned in order to make it possible to meet everything the customers were looking for. And since then, we've come a really long way. We've got tens of thousands of customers analyzing exabytes of data every single day on Redshift. And it really runs the gamut across industries. In healthcare and life sciences, we've got companies like Pfizer, Gilead, who you'll be hearing from later today, Moderna and J&J are others. In financial services, we've got companies like JPMC and Intuit, and they're all shifting to modern architectures in the cloud. I remember I've worked with NASDAQ since before we launched Redshift. They ingest tens of billions of records of market data every day, and they use a combination of Redshift and data in their data lake. Zynga has been doubling their ETL performance and scaling to process terabytes of game data every day, and they migrated from a legacy on-premise system to Redshift. And even within Amazon, our own teams are running over 50 billion queries every day to power 300 plus teams to really make sure that when you click buy, that your packages get to you on time. So when we think about innovating and investing in Redshift, there's really 4 main areas that we think about. And we really want to focus these investments so that we can help our customers achieve the things they want to achieve. So what we're thinking about is performance. We really want to make sure you get the best performance for your workloads at scale. You never have to worry about, will the system keep up with what you're trying to do. We want to deliver this performance in a cost-effective manner. So as I mentioned, you can continue to scale, and you know that you'll get more efficient over time, and the price performance will work in your favor. We want to make it easy for you to analyze all of your data. This is a critically important piece because Redshift is a powerful analytics system, and we want you to be able to get data from wherever it's being generated, analyze it in place, and then use it to drive insights that power your business. And you need a solid foundation of security and reliability so you can be confident that only the right people have access to the right data. So let's dive into the first area, price performance. This is critical. It's really important for our customers, and it's something that we've continued to focus on since the very beginning. And when we look at Redshift, we're able to deliver up to 5 times better price performance than other cloud data warehouses. And this is using industry standard benchmarks like TPC-DS or TPC-H. And what you've got is the top chart is tuned performance, and below is out-of-the-box performance. And so really, whatever you're trying to do, Redshift is going to give you the best possible value when it comes to these benchmark results. However, benchmarks are just one part of the story. And in the real world, customers are running thousands of queries simultaneously or running them in high concurrency. This is different from benchmarking when you're typically running one query at a time to see how fast you can get through the suite. And so in this scenario, Redshift performs even better, and we're actually able to deliver up to 7 times better throughput than other systems. And we're able to also provide things like concurrency scaling, so you can see our ability to process queries grows linearly as you add users, which is unique to Redshift. And this is really important for real-world performance, which is where it matters the most for customers. So the leadership that we've established in price performance is possible because of a number of deliberate steps that we've taken with Redshift architecture. So first, with the customer fleet that we have, we've been able to look and observe real-world workloads and use automatic machine learning-based optimizations to help us drive better throughput in the system. And so we can allocate things like workload management, we can tune resource utilization. And because we've built the system on high-performance storage using the separation of compute and storage with our RA3 instances, we're really able to scale and deliver the performance that we need. And then we have our MPP, or massively parallel processing architecture, and this uses the AWS Nitro system, which allows us to move expensive operations into hardware. And we have also innovated on the software side with things like novel string processing algorithms that allow us to go up to 63x faster than existing techniques that we had before. And so this is really about delivering innovation and better performance at no additional cost to our customers. And so we're able to innovate really throughout the stack from silicon to software. And on the pricing side, we're able to give our customers and all of you flexible pricing models, so you can decide to pay as you go or use serverless to match your usage with your costs. But we also have things like reserved instances, so if you've got predictable workloads, you can use reservations to obtain discounts. And then we have things like free trials and migration assistance to really make it easier for you to get the right pricing setup to optimize your costs while also benefiting from all of the innovations that we have in performance. We've got some great sessions coming up later today that go deeper into performance topics. Tim Kraska is one of our experts in databases and machine learning, and he'll be talking about how machine learning is really used to drive performance in Redshift. And then Ravi and Stefan from our performance team will also be taking you under the hood to see how we've been able to deliver some of these price performance improvements that I've touched on. So when it comes to thinking about making your life simpler, we talk a lot about how we can offload a lot of the undifferentiated heavy lifting, or muck, of managing systems and managing your data warehouse, so you can focus on really driving value, analyzing your data, using it to drive better outcomes for your business. And so we want to enable your analysts, your product managers, your data scientists, and really let them focus on insights rather than on managing their systems. And with Redshift Serverless, which we launched last year, the goal was to help our customers really have to do nothing when it came to managing infrastructure, and to give them the scale that they needed and the flexibility that they needed to focus on their insights. And so with Redshift Serverless, you get to just work with data, use it to drive better outcomes for your business, whether that's finding new revenue streams or looking for efficiencies. And behind the scenes, the Redshift service takes care of provisioning resources, scaling them up and down, even putting them into a suspended mode when they're not being used. And we can make sure that we're perfectly matching your workloads and your usage to the amount of work that your teams are doing. We're also focusing on making it easier for folks that are proficient in SQL, which is really the lingua franca of data, and bringing them the ability to work with machine learning systems without having to become experts in ML. And so with Redshift ML, what we've done is integrated SageMaker deeply into Redshift. So from the SQL prompt itself, analysts can use SQL to create models. This calls out to SageMaker behind the scenes. It automatically generates and optimizes the model, and that's brought back into the warehouse to run predictions in parallel at scale at no additional cost. And so customers like Jobcase are able to use Redshift ML, and they can drive billions of predictions within minutes for their population of over 10 million active members. And this is a real a game changer when it comes to really bringing machine learning to folks with SQL expertise and bringing that capability to where your data is. Another big place where we spend a lot of time in Redshift is about making it easy to analyze all of your data. And really this is about integrating all of your services so you can build that end-to-end data strategy. And so you can have Redshift sitting at the heart of your data system and get data coming out of your transactional and streaming systems, benefit from everything that you're doing with data lakes and machine learning, and still get high-performance SQL analytics. And as we talked about at reInvent, we've been working towards a zero ETL future where we eliminate the need to really focus on building complex ETL pipelines and thinking about how to make it easy to integrate Redshift with your databases and machine learning systems. And so we've been working on features like federated querying, where you can run queries over data that's in place in your databases without having to move it. You can query data that's in your data lake. We've integrated with Redshift ML, we've integrated with SageMaker like I've talked about. And so the goal is really to make it easy for you to get data from your repositories and where it's generated, enable that to be queried efficiently in Redshift, and then use all of the power of Redshift to get insight from all that data as easily and as quickly as possible. When it comes to security and compliance, we really want to make sure that our customers get the best possible set of features that meet all of their needs regardless of where in the world they operate or how highly regulated their industries are. And we give this to our customers out of the box at no additional cost. So as you can see from this slide, when it comes to security and compliance, we are doing a ton to make sure that you have everything that you need. And just to highlight a few features, we've built in integration with AWS Identity and Access Management. We can use IAM Identity Federation to integrate with Active Directory or with Okta or Ping, so your identities that you use to manage your users can propagate into Redshift. We support multi-factor auth. We also integrate with lake formation, so you can manage your data shares that way. And this allows you as administrators to really define all of your security policies and make sure that Redshift fits into that ecosystem. We also enable dynamic data masking, so you can really have rules that apply to different groups of users without having to maintain multiple copies of the data. And then everything that we do in the system is audited, whether that's people trying to log in successfully or not. All user activity and events. We support encryption end-to-end for data in transit, data at rest. You've got full control of your encryption keys. And we're fully integrated with all of AWS's compliance programs, so you can be confident that no matter how you secure your workload, you can run it without any concerns in Redshift. And we recently announced integration with Amazon Data Zone. Data Zone is a data management service that allows you to catalog, discover, and govern all of your data. It also simplifies data collaboration among teams. And so with Data Zone, you can access your data across multiple accounts and multiple regions. It really simplifies your ability to work with data that's relevant in multiple services, and Data Zone integrates with Redshift, Athena, and other analytics services. And you can publish your Redshift data tables into Data Zone, and you can deep link to these from the Redshift query editor. So it makes it a lot easier for folks to consume Redshift data in a well-governed way. This year marks the 10th anniversary of Redshift. As we talked about, we launched it back in 2012, and since then we've been constantly listening to customers and working with them to figure out how we can make Redshift better and make it better serve their needs, and that's something that I'm super proud of and the team is really proud of. And the Redshift of today has just come a tremendous way from something that we launched and that was remarkable back then, and it's even more remarkable and exciting now. And some of the highlights have been things like making Redshift more elastic. It's been about integrating Redshift with all of the various systems like your S3 data lakes, your operational databases, Redshift serverless, data sharing. These have all been massive innovations. Things like concurrency scaling have allowed Redshift to scale with our customers and really help them meet their most challenging workloads. Materialized views have been another great innovation that lets customers get super fast queries for their dashboards without having to change anything from their analyst perspectives. And so this has been just an awesome journey that's been really fun to go on with our customers together, and we're going to keep going. I had the opportunity to sit down with Gilead and learn about the challenges they're dealing with in the healthcare research space and how they're using Redshift to really meet these challenges and create better outcomes for all of us. Let's hear what they have to say. Hi Rajiv, I hope you had a great trip. Thank you so much for joining us at the AWS Data Insights Day. To start off, could you please tell us and tell the audience who you are, what they should know about Gilead, and what your role there is?
Sure. Thank you for inviting me. My name is Rajiv Arora. I work for Gilead Sciences. Gilead is a biotech company. We are into three major therapeutic areas. We do virology, so we are the leaders in HIV space. We also have medications for hepatitis, C, B, and D, and we have a very ambitious goal to get into oncology by 2030. We really want to have 20 plus therapies available for our cancer patients, So we are into solid tumors,
Okay.
and blood cancer.
Wow.
We also have an inflammation therapeutic area that we have solutions for.
Very nice. And what's your role at Gilead, Rajiv?
So my team is responsible for a data and analytics platform for drug development.
Got it.
We are responsible for any data that comes in from outside and some clinical data that comes in. So we provide a data lake and we provide analytic solutions on it.
Very cool. And you just recently started using Redshift serverless. Could you tell us a little bit about your journey and some of the challenges that you experienced that led you there?
We started using serverless about 6 months back. I think it was brand new when 6 months is when it came out.
That's right.
We had a bunch of provision clusters, and scalability was one of the big issues. We wanted to scale up really fast, really quick. We have this use case where we bring in lots of data, and we were having trouble trying to scale up to meet the demands for performance.
And how has moving to Redshift serverless helped you address some of these challenges?
Oh, actually, we are very happy right now. We can ingest this data, bring it into our data platform within less than 24 hours. And on the provision cluster, it used to take us like 5-6 days.
Oh, wow.
And we are also using, consumption side of Redshift serverless to, consume this data for queries.
Okay. And could you tell us a little bit more about some of the use cases that you have at Gilead for this data?
Sure. We buy data, from, it's called real world data.
Okay.
So we buy electronic health records data, we buy claims data, we buy pharmacy claims. This data, sometimes registries also, there's cancer registries and other kinds of data. All this real world data, we have about 60, 70, different vendors. Sometimes the data is fit for purpose, like, hey, I'm trying to buy this data. Give me this data for a particular therapeutic area. Give me cancer, somebody who has cancer. So the data sets are small. Sometimes we buy all generic data. So we have data consolidators. We bring data from different, claims processing companies, from pharmacy claims, from hospitals, put it all together and send it to us. So we have a use case where we signed a contract with one of these data vendor, and they gave us, the data size was like 100 plus terabytes.
Oh, wow.
And it comes in every month. So we have to ingest this data really quickly, make it available to our users for analysis as quick as possible.
Got it. So you've got data coming in sort of in this monthly period and scale up to meet that and then make it available. And what sorts of use cases do you have for the data? What types of users are consuming this?
So we have two kinds of analysis that happens on our data. So we have statistical analysis and we have predictive analysis. So we have normal SaaS users who are doing analysis, extracting data from this data, from data platform. they are trying to do comparative analysis. They are looking at patients' journey across, the lifespan of the data that's available. Then they look at, our drug data, comparative analysis. We have some products. We'll look at this data and see how many patients we have who are taking similar drugs, and do some comparative analysis. We do some feasibility studies on safety and efficacy. If long-term use data is safe for us, right? If you use long COVID like an example, right? After we have a solution, after we have a product, long-term usage, we look at this real-world data and do analysis that our products are safe. Sometimes we do publications, so there are many uses of this data. On the predictive side of things, we are trying to recruit trials or do trials with more inclusion and diversity. We recruit patients which are more diverse. So we are predicting which hospitals to go to, which regions to go to find these diverse people for our trials.
Rajiv, that's a fascinating use case. Thanks for sharing that. And I can see the challenges with dealing with the spiky influx of data. So can you talk a little bit about how Redshift has helped you and helped Gilead really process these use cases and deal with the scale that you're seeing?
So we've been using Redshift since we built this platform as our structured data source. So all the structured data goes in Redshift. The analysis that happens on this data is, we look at the whole life cycle of data. So we get this data for like 5-10 years. So when we look at a patient journey across all these years, so having data in a structured format in Redshift helps us, pose the right question, because we are looking at the whole patient journey. How the disease has progressed, what are the different conditions, what medications was taken. So having the data organized in Redshift in a structured way solves a lot of downstream analytical problems. Serverless, on top of it, helps us meet this spike. We get once a month spike in volume where we have to scale up. This volume is so big. If I have to use a provisioned cluster and keep it running, the cost is enormous.
Got it.
So serverless helps us in terms of bringing something up quickly, really scaled up. We use 512 RPUs, serverless, which is the max serverless offering that you offer, to ingest this data. And right now it works like 10 to 12 hours. We ingest 120 terabytes of data.
Wow, that's impressive, and it's someone was involved in thinking through how we were going to build serverless. It's really great to see it working the way we hoped it would for you. So that's terrific. And how has it helped you on the cost side?
Well, it has helped us tremendously. We have now. Well, there was two problems, right? One was when we were doing ingestion on a provisioned cluster for such big volumes, it just used to take away all the resources, and downstream consumers would just complain, hey, ingestion is running, I can't use the system. So we separated ingestion with consumption.
Got it.
So that has helped us, just from the technical side, but from the cost side, we have multiple layers of consumption now. So we use data sharing.
Okay.
So we have ingestion as one serverless, and then we have provisioned clusters for some set of users, and then we have, for people who do cross years analysis, we have more powerful serverless clusters. So that helps kind of tiering, and the cost, the analysis happens on this big data sets, not on an everyday basis.
Got it.
So the cost of just running on demand helps us not bring up powerful clusters for this big volumes of data.
Got it. No, that's really cool. I love hearing how you're mixing and matching serverless with provision and really helping that meet the needs of your downstream users. And it's great to see that data sharing's been helping your teams out as well. One of the other big topics that we hear customers talk about a lot is security and governance, and I'm sure in your space that's a huge deal. Could you talk a little bit about data governance at Gilead and how you're using Redshift to help support what you need to do in that space?
Absolutely. Data governance is number one. It's in life science industry, you got to show the data is used for the right purpose, and who has the right controls on this data throughout. So when we purchase this data, we have legal contracts from these vendors on how this data can be used, who can use it in which geography. So those controls in terms of how data is used by who, at what time, is all done with Redshift right now. And Redshift is the layer where we implement a lot of these governance controls. It's really important. Governance is a big topic in life sciences, and we use Redshift as the foundation layers underneath to solve this governance issue.
Well, thanks so much for sharing that. It's super inspiring to hear about your use case and talk about an impactful mission, and it's really humbling and exciting for the team and for us to just play a small role in supporting you in that. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed that. AWS is with you every step of the way, no matter where you are on your data journey, whether you're just getting started with a data strategy or whether you're looking to do a full-fledged migration. We've got a great set of partners. They're validated. We've worked with them for a long time, and they're part of all of our programs. We work together hand in hand, and we've got the programs and resources and tooling to help you navigate your migration and your end-to-end data strategy. Thank you once again to our viewers. We have an amazing day lined up for you, full of insights about Amazon Redshift and how you can use it to move your projects and businesses forward. I also want to give a special shout out to Stripe and Informatica, our sponsors this year. They're partners that we've worked with for a long time, who've been great collaborators. Stripe introduced the Stripe data pipeline last year, and this enables our joint customers to easily access their Stripe transaction data directly in their Redshift data warehouses, and this then drives a lot of downstream analytics use cases for Stripe's end customers. Informatica has been a strategic partner since the very early days of Redshift. I remember as a product manager on the team, iterating with them before we launched the service, getting ready to go out the door. And so we've had a terrific journey together. And with that, I'd like to invite you to our next session where you'll hear from Tim Kraska, and he's going to talk about the impact of AI and machine learning on databases based on research at MIT. And we've got a stellar panel of women leaders from our customer organizations, and this is hosted by Marion McLemore, who's the Director of AWS Enterprise Strategy. I hope you have a great AWS Data Insights Day. Thanks for joining us.